A Semester of Humanitarianism Summed Up by Caitlin Peterson and Corey Garrett. Signing up for the Humanitarian Affairs 201 class, we had no idea what to expect. We both knew we wanted to help out in some way, but we didn't know it required a lot of intellect.
Sometimes humanitarianism does more harm than good. The needs of the people can be misunderstood. The first week of class brought us a story about Michael Marin. He taught us the principle of humanity and helped restore many broken people back to their sanity.
In the second week of class, we already knew much more. By learning the definition of the term humanitarianism, we started our knowledge at the core. The documentary Triage taught us that everyone in a life-threatening situation couldn't be saved, and in times of crisis, we learned how the volunteers must behave.
If people disagree within a country, they may begin a civil war. While the fighting may stop, economic losses and diseases are still a burden for sure. The bottom billion explains the never-ending cycle of civil war, leading to countries wearing and tearing and becoming more poor.
The Green Revolution increased the production of agricultural exponentially during the mid to late 1900s, trying to increase the food in countries where people die from starvation, growing grain for the starving with no hesitation.
Although this is true, there are still many starving people. Developed countries like the U.S. send people packages of food in an attempt to make them less feeble. Food prices are at an all-time high, and this is an explanation as to why. It has shown that the world has been able to sustain enough food for the world to gain.
The documentary Silent Killer taught us the impact of hunger, 15,000 children a day dying because this is not making the world any younger. Plum peanut is a substance that is given in famine situations. Peanut butter, dry milk, sugar, powdered vitamins, and oil, providing nutrition to those people's lives so that they do not spoil.
Over the last few years, tsunamis and earthquakes have brought the world to tears. After Haiti's natural disaster, an action plan was made to help recover faster. Territorial, economic, social, and institutional rebuilding were the categories in the Haiti Action Plan. After 300,000 people died during the January 12, 2010 earthquake, they could not afford to lose another man.
Chagas are little bugs that in Latin America have proven to be annoying. If you are not careful when you sleep, they will bite you when you are snoring. Chagas only affects the poorest end of the populations because they cannot be properly treated. Among more developed countries, there has been much speculation. Even doctors do not acknowledge the harm being done. If these people are suffering from a heart condition while the rest of us are having fun.
Doctors Without Borders taught us many things over the semester. We learned the top 10 crises that occurred in 2009. From Afghanistan rebuilding to the cholera outbreak in Chad, the world is far from being fine. A different Doctors Without Borders article brought us with happy news. Amazing medical breakthroughs, saving people like me and you.
We first learned about the Hotel Rwanda by how it was portrayed in a Hollywood film. Little did we know the actual seriousness of the event. Millions of people were ruthlessly murdered. The UN that went in to help the Tutsis were looked upon as heaven sent.
The documentary The Greatest Silence, we learned that rape is an instrument of war. It is something that the UN and helping nations have been trying to prevent furthermore. The use of rape spreads these diseases around. Not only is this harming the victims physically, but also it is emotionally knocking them to the ground.
Refugees are people that have had to leave their country due to civil war, natural disasters, or religious conflicts. Many countries welcome them with open arms to save them from further conflicts. Internally displaced persons do leave their homes, but not their country. Still having to start their lives over, hoping they can come back home. Oftentimes they have long distances to roam.
Many children grow up with no cares in the world, but this is not true of child soldiers who have no choice. Uprooted from their homes, they fear for their lives of their family, but they have no voice. The documentary War Dance provided us with a happy story of a fellow village that danced in hopes of winning the gold. With many different categories that they were judged in, every movement had to be bold.
The Little Book of Trauma Healing was a very touching book. Revealing the many different things people in bad situations go through, it took a closer look. The many different types of trauma that are listed, knowing that most Americans will probably never have to face half of them, proves that our lives are truly gifted.
By taking this class, we have learned more than what we ever thought we would. It is nice to know that there is a refugee center in Harrisonburg that we were able to help out when we could. We are both very excited to take other classes for our humanitarianism minor. Thank you, Dr. Tassi. This semester could not have been any finer.